All right. So you've got the body of your jacket and your sleeve.
Yep, so we're going to sew our sleeves in now. Now the first thing to do when you're sewing a sleeve into a jacket, well this is the method that I use and I find it's pretty easy, is because the curve of the shoulder there goes onto the bias and it stretches, when you sew it in it's automatically bigger than the armhole, and then you've added ease in as well to go over the shoulder pad so it's even bigger. So a way of dealing with some of that is to use this technique where you sit it under here. Now you don't have to change the stitch length for this, you keep it on the same stitch length, and you start at I'm starting here at the double back notches. I'm going to work my way up to the shoulder notch, and then I'm going to stop at the single front notch here. And basically you just put it under here, and you do it it's like at 9 millimeters. So it's just inside the stitch line, and you put your finger behind, and what you're going to do is you're literally just going to sew, and you're going to, by holding your finger behind, you can see that it's squashing up the fabric. Okay, so when you get to the top, you just let it go, and then start on the front section. And what this does is just concentrate the fabric and sort of just like squash the ease.
Yeah. And with the smaller stitch, it's much more controlled.
Yeah. So for some people they use a big stitch and then they pull the thread. But if you handle this really gently, the thing is if you pulled on it, it would just flatten out again. But if you handle it gently, it works quite well at it's because it really just needs to stay in place until you've got it sewn into the garment. So now I'm going to match up my notches. So I'm starting at the underarm notch here. Like I said, being gentle with the fabric and the sleeve. So I've got my double notches here. So I'm just going to use 4 pins. So for the double underarm, double notches for the front notch. And you'll see too that you're not actually matching up. So this panel here won't match up with that one. That's not the way that it works. You're going to be matching the notches, not the panel lines. Because if you try and match up the panel lines, it's just going to throw the ease out. And then, where's my shoulder notch here? So I'm just going to match that up with the shoulder notch with my shoulder seam. And put a pin in there. Okay. Now what I find too, and you'll see that because we've got that slight gather stitch in there, it just helps to pull that in a little bit, and it fits in to the space a lot better. And I also find too that when I'm sewing the sleeve in, if you sew with the body on top and sew with this section underneath, I find that it helps me sew it in.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start with my double back notches. I wouldn't start, you can start at the notches, or you can start at the underarm. I don't think that really makes much difference because there's only a little bit of ease around the underarm section. So again, just sew it bit by bit. So I'm sewing from one lot of notches to the next lot of notches. Pulling this around, and the pins, obviously help hold it in place. So, matching the raw edges. And just go nice and slow, there's no need to rush around. Rush while you're doing this. And you can see, so this is the sleeve that you can see poking out. So what you can do is just put your fingers in between the 2 layers.
Line them up again.
And line up the raw edges. And just ease again. Okay, so at the shoulder now, I just need to do the final section here. So again, pull the raw edges over so that they match. And if you need to, put your hand in. If you put your hand in between the two layers, it's easier to manipulate the sleeve head. Some people put lots and lots of pins around when they're doing this, but I find you probably just end up with pleats
Yep.
if you use too many pins.
Look at that magic.
So that's worked pretty well. I do have, oh, look at that. I do have a tiny tuck there. So what I need to do here is just to fix that, is just to undo the stitching. Don't pull the whole sleeve out. So I'm just going to redo this tiny little section here. And to do this, if you want to cheat a little bit, so what I'm going to do is just give this a bit of a pull.
Sorry, I'll just...
Put your fingers in there. Give the top layer a little bit of a pull, and that'll help flatten it out. And hopefully that'll make that little tuck disappear.
Layer a little bit.
Stretching the top layer,
Yeah.
so that it's more the same length. And
Yeah.
there I managed to get rid of that little tuck. And then the back section's fine. And you can see that. Oops, take your pins out. And you can see how the sleeve is now eased into the armhole. And when we get our sleeve head in there and our shoulder pad in there, that'll help hold that out. So that's the ease that you need to fit over your shoulder.
Yep.
Okay, and our
Great.
sleeve's inserted.
Great.